Good morning. You're listening to FloorDaily.net, and I'm Kemp Harr. This morning, my guest is Bruce Zwicker, who's president and CEO with Haines, the largest floor covering distributor in the U.S. Bruce, how you doing?
I'm fine, Kemp. How are you?
I'm great. Big news on Monday. I heard little inklings of it over the weekend, but you did a good job of keeping it quiet. Number one floor covering distributor has bought CMH Space, the third largest distributor from our estimates. Just to run some quick numbers, J.J. Haines' annual revenues are around $320 million, and then CMH Space is around $190 million. So you are now by far the largest floor covering distributor. I guess the first question to ask you is, what's the strategy behind making this acquisition?
Sure. Well, several reasons for doing it. Number one is that when we look at our customers and what they need from us, they need a large-scale distributor who can be deep in inventory, can afford to do that, who has a great logistics machine that can deliver a lot of products on the same truck so that they can take advantage of single receipt and single paperwork, single order placing, combining and bundling products for lower delivery fees and get the excellence in delivery on time, accurate paperwork, based on a system that is technologically based, it's automated. So we really want to be the kind of distributor that's got the best product portfolio, the best service, and at the lowest cost so that we can survive for the long term. And really, what's a tough business in floor covering? I mean, the margins are not what they used to be. They never will be again. So you have to have scale to be able to bring to the customer what they need, and you have to have the product portfolio. So number one was the customers. You think about it, number two, of course, is financial. We have shareholders, and we need to bring to them growth. So this is a lot of market share in one big gulp, as well as that scale improves our ability to survive for the long term, to give them the kind of return they need, and to be able to keep our costs down through that scale. Also, we're going to have, at the end of the day, probably in the fall of this coming year, a multi-division structure. So this acquisition allows us the scale to be able to set up a multi-division structure, which we wouldn't have been able to do otherwise. And then the last reason is we've got employees, they're family to us. We have about 440 at Haines, and about 355 CMH have just joined the family. Those people are going to be better off, the CMH Space joining Haines, our benefit programs and such. And they're all better off because we're all under the same wing. We're all in a strong company that's going to be here for a long time.
Mm-hmm. I think the last time you and I talked on an interview was in January of last year, and you were announcing the acquisition of Allied Products, which brought you into a customer base that you hadn't been into before. It brought you into that installer base of customers. Right. When you start looking at CMH Space and you start looking at how it expands your reach, is there that type of dimension to it?
Yeah, and that really links back to my comment about the multi-division structure. What we're also trying to do is to make sure that we can give suppliers the focus they need and be able to supply the right customer in the right way. So, for example, one of the divisions that we started up, fledgling division with the acquisition of Allied Products, is in the supplies business. So CMH Space is big in the supplies business. They acquired Space in Georgia in 2008, and then they also acquired Ellis in North Carolina. So we will have a supplies division with different brand names under it. We'll retain the names Allied and Space and Ellis, and we'll be able to develop a model that we would envision would kind of be like the Starbucks of the supplies business. We like to be able to provide installers with the right products and the right service, all the way across our territory from Pennsylvania, New Jersey through Florida eventually. So that's one example. The other one is, as we mentioned in the press release, and very importantly, is with Armstrong. We have a relationship with Armstrong that is absolutely unique. It's over 100 years old. And we have an understanding with them that we're going to develop an Armstrong-only division. So they will have a group of salespeople and an executive who are entirely focused on them. And then we'll have another division which will focus on all of our other flooring covering products and we'll have an extremely large sales force to be able to make sure that they get what they need. So there's something in this for the suppliers, too.
I see. Yeah, you're one of the original 12 distributors for Armstrong, aren't you?
Yes, I think we're the last one.
Yeah.
That's right.
All right. Well, it sounds like, I mean, obviously everybody understands the economies of scale here, cubing out the truck and the efficiencies you get with that, and talking about increasing shareholder value. I'm sure integration is going to be complicated. What are some of the challenges that you think you face as you look to integrate this?
Well, the first thing we have to do in order to integrate, and we've basically said about 9 months, sometime in the fall we'll be done. We want to take our time. And 2 reasons for taking our time. One is we want to get onto the same computer system. You can't do much integration until you do that. Mm-hmm. So we're on Danzig, they're on Gartman. That should be a relatively smooth transition from one ERP to the other. And we just went through the integration of Allied onto the Danzig system, so, we're well equipped to do that, and we've got lots of support from Danzig for it. But the other thing is you've got a lot of salespeople, products, trucks, warehouses. How do you sort all that out? And we've employed PricewaterhouseCoopers, so PwC has a team of people helping us with the integration, so we're not trying to do this alone. We've got some experts helping us. Of course, we've acquired business and integrated them ourselves. But we want to take time to learn more about CMH Space. It's a great company, great folks. Hoy Lanning, who is the CEO of CMH Space, is the president of CMH Space now. So he'll run that business for us until through the integration, and we set up the multi-division. And then he will remain an executive with Haines for the long term. Mm-hmm. And then we'll have to sort out how we set ourselves up with all of our executives across this new company that we're building. Meanwhile, we also have the benefit of CMH Space is a great company, makes money. They have a great service model. They have 4 key owners, and all 4 of them, including Hoy, are staying with us through the integration. Mm-hmm. So the other 3 owners will stay along to help us get over the bumps. We've already started. We're onboarding those 355 people as we speak between yesterday and today. It's all going very smoothly. It'll have its bumps, but, we'll get through it. So we're well prepared, we're well organized, and we're going to take our time to do this right.
And through the expansions of both companies, does this give you any areas that you didn't already cover as Haines, as far as geographical?
We're a little farther into Pennsylvania. We're a little farther west. We're in Alabama now, where we really weren't there before, and we're farther west into Tennessee. Other than that, it's a complete overlap, right, from northern Florida up through Pennsylvania, New Jersey.
We've watched the history of distribution, and we've watched L.D. Brinkman, we've watched Hoboken, and they got too big, and they failed. How do you ensure that doesn't happen to you?
Well, L.D. Brinkman occurred before I was around, so I don't really know the story there. Hoboken was failed while I was around. I know that story really well, so I know many of the issues that confronted them. But we're a different entity. We do not have visions of grandeur. We are not so ambitious as we're trying to be nationwide. I don't think floor covering distribution really works nationwide. We want to stick to our need. We're right in the Mid-Atlantic, right in the Southeast. We want to be the best we can be right there. We're just not interested in trying to take on too much. This might sound like a big production bringing on CMH Space, and it is, but it's not like something that we don't know how to do. Our customers are many times the same. The cultures are very close. The ERP move over is not going to be difficult, so we're not going to get too big. We're going to be as big as we need to be, and we'll take all the steps to get there in a prudent fashion. We're a conservative company by nature, and we're very well organized. We're very thorough. So I hope that, you and I can have a call a year from now, and all of our customers and suppliers and employees will be happy, and my words will be true that we didn't screw it up.
I'm impressed with you coming in here. Many people may not know that you're not homegrown floor covering. You actually were working for another major chemical company before you started with Haines in 2003. Then you were, promoted to be the lead guy, and so you're really shaking things up and making some differences. So I'm really impressed with it. So congratulations on this acquisition.
Well, thank you very much, Kemp.
Yeah, it's good to talk to you again. We've been talking to Bruce Zwicker about Monday's news that Haines has bought CMH Space. And you've been listening to Kemp Harr and FloorDaily.net.